That's another thing I want to talk about. Cause talk about connections. My question is, do you feel like people are still connected to each other, even though they not together and stuff like that?
Yes. Not even because of just in general. I do.
Because like you know how
Okay.
that day how we heard my dad and stuff was talking about how he still love my mama and stuff like that.
Right.
And then we see it in certain situations where whether it's like movies we see it in although in the movies the people they get back together and stuff like that the person they ain't talk to but we see it I wouldn't say everywhere but we see it in some cases where you know but in most cases or some cases where people they used to talk to back then it didn't work out but later down the road it did work out but in most cases all we see is it don't work out and then they just don't go back there because either they they feel like they'll get shamed or they feel like oh
I
what they did was
I
like
felt like
bad
that before with your brother.
and
Because there was a time we could have gotten back together. I really believe we could have got back together, and I was too a lot of things, to say the least. Like I'm gonna be Blue Man. Blue Man Group.
I mean I ain't gonna say with that situation at some point I did think y'all was gonna get back together I mean this one I'm gonna tell you the honest truth alright
Speak, brother.
like I knew y'all
Speak
was
your
like
truth.
I know y'all was having arguments but I ain't gonna say like once that like I guess I didn't really think about it until until like y'all was like when the final stage when y'all was having that big argument when y'all was having like the big arguments and stuff and was finally just cut it loose and stuff like I guess it didn't click into my head till then till right there like I knew y'all loved each other but at the same time I was like but I guess a little bit of me was like did y'all really wanted to get married or did y'all or like not saying like y'all didn't want to but did y'all get married early because of Lily.
Right, I believe I pushed that. I can't even say we. I pushed that, I think, because of her and the stigma. Like, oh, you're living together, you're shacking up, you're not. I definitely believe we did press the, shit. Not the, sorry. Yes. To answer your question lightly, yes. I
Yeah,
believe the whole marriage piece was pushed too early,
yeah, cause
for sure.
not saying like y'all wasn't like y'all wasn't a good couple or anything, but it was just like how everybody say like oh y'all still young and stuff like that but it was like but I know it was more I wouldn't say like cause the age didn't really have to nothing to do with it and I wouldn't even say Lily had nothing to do with it but it was just more so of trying to show her like oh we are like be a family and stuff and be married and like try to show her that because like all we experienced is divorce two separate homes and stuff like we had a one home we all experienced a one home before but then once they got divorced it was like two different homes but it's still the same rules similar I wouldn't say same I say similar rules but it's two different homes and you're not growing up with that oh mom and dad living in one house everything all good and stuff like that.
I do believe I pushed it because of that too, because my parents, you know, we both had experienced divorced parents. We both even it's my godfather's been married and divorced so many times I couldn't even count on my hands. So I believe that was a part of it too for me. Like I wanted her to know, you know. But now it's like looking back, that's just the stigma. It's not even what works for y'all should work for y'all. And like, you know, that's a big part of what I'm learning too. Let y'all's business be y'all's business.
Mm-hmm.
That too. There was too many people in our relationship that we allowed to be in there. You know, it wasn't even. I can't even sit there and blame anybody. It was, you know, me calling your mom because I didn't know, or me calling my parents because I didn't. I didn't. And to me, we should have went to counseling and talked to Pastor Bray more.
But you know, it's still working out. Not it's working out more as a friendship and getting along and stuff, which is good.
Right.
Which is good.
Which is so good. And that's all I really want. I just want Lily to thrive.
And
I mean, she might have to get all her siblings from Dano, but you know, that's okay.
nah, I think this I say this one is most likely gonna be the last one. Well, I say the last one in for now. I don't know what his plans is, but I'm gonna say last one for now. But I'm hoping last one.
Well, he can at least give y'all a chance to have a couple kids first, then.
Yeah, yeah, we need that.
Love alarm. And from then, love
Cordy,
alarm. From then, you chose
Mm.
whatever.
she just over here. She like the she like the
Nada dijo que se pone a ver
what's
romántico
that dude name off? Oh, like that man off of Conan
pero esto fuimos
or
sola.
Guerrero.
Me hizo
I don't
fechas
know.
de la computadora.
I don't know either. I don't either.
It's one of them talk shows where they got this one person. I want to say it's Jimmy Fallon, where he got the Hispanic dude and he just like like you just like you'll pop in and say something, but
Because
it's
it's
just
real random.
yeah, or but it's like the host and the guest talking
No.
and you just there.
Oh, sorry. I'll let my armpit.
But, but now you did say yeah to the connection and stuff like people who not talking who not together still have that connection and stuff.
What
No.
are your thoughts, Serena? I just put bleach in my eye. God damn.
Yeah, quarters. What's your
That
thoughts,
shit
quarters?
hurts. I mean, yes, you can still have a connection with a person even though you're not with them. Um, but I think it's all of not a mind game, but a mind game. If that makes sense, because you'll only remember what you want to remember from that relationship and from that person. True. So you choose to keep the memories that you want and the idea of that relationship the way that you want. If that makes sense. The only reason I say that is because my previous relationship, it was a very toxic relationship, but I'm not gonna say that it wasn't a good relationship. If that makes sense. But
Alright.
I choose to remember what made it such a bad relationship. So I choose not to want to have some type of connection. If that makes sense. Oh, so it comes back to the choices, like how we were saying about the childhood trauma and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
Yes. So like in your like perspective with you and the relationship with you had with Daynell, you remember the good and the bad stuff, correct? Right. You now when it comes to actually looking into the bad stuff, you look at the worst of the worst, correct? Yeah, because there's times Daynell's like, it wasn't that bad. I said, for me, it was. Yeah. Because I'm constantly telling her, I feel like, please make sure she has a good pregnancy. Please, I've been there, I've done that, where you're stressed the fuck out all the goddamn time. like I said, it's all a mind game. I feel like a lot of things that when it comes to connections or just thoughts between people or just anything in general between two connections between two people or even multiple people. Like you can have multiple connections with a lot of people, but I just feel like it's a mind game. Now I smell like bleach. Yummy.
Alright. But 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 the thing a word you brought up earlier, toxic. Like, alright, what defines like, alright, to y'all, what defines what does the word toxic mean to y'all, or like what's the meaning of toxic to y'all?
When you say what? Huh?
I was like, alright,
What?
cause she brought up the word toxic,
Oh, toxic.
and people, and like a lot of people say use toxic a lot,
There's
but I'm just trying to clarify
Isaiah.
like what's the word toxic, and
Isaiah.
what does that word mean to y'all?
Isaiah.
I feel like toxic to me is someone that's manipulative, someone that can get away with words, with as a gift for actions, with just I don't know. I don't even know how to say it. A person that just likes to play with people's emotions. And sometimes when you're in a relationship for so long, you both know how to push each other's buttons. So it's like you both are pretty toxic to each. Like me and my ex got really toxic to each other because it was we knew how to play on each other's emotions. We had been so honest up front. Ow, 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 ow. We have been so honest. Sorry. We have been so honest at the beginning that we know to this day exactly what buttons to push, how to say, how to piss each other off, how to make toxic each other feel. Oh my bad. Yeah. I agree with Katie on that one too. Is this someone that? I mean, like Katie said, it could go both ways. They were toxic for each other. Doesn't mean that every time you'll get someone that's just toxic, or if it's just a toxic relationship in general. If it's two toxic people, but it's just people pushing each other, like knowing how to bring someone down. And like not even finding, I don't know if we found enjoyment. I didn't find enjoyment out of it. It was just like I guess almost a defense mechanism for me. And to me, it got so toxic because for me it was Lily too. Because then Lily was talking about I want a boyfriend that yells at me. I want this. I want that. I want a boyfriend that puts his hands on me. Like what the hell?
Yeah.
That's not okay. And for me and Danielle, it got to the toxic to where we were putting our hands on each other. You know.
Yeah, cause then that starts throwing like bad examples for like people that surround us, especially younger people that surround us and stuff like that.
Well, I felt bad a lot of times because of you and Mira. Not so much. I'm not saying Deja didn't matter. It's just Deja. I guess to me, a lot of times Deja seemed like she was when Deja wasn't. You know, she wasn't worried about XYZ. But I'm now seeing it probably did have an effect on her. You know.
Yeah, cause
I hope to God you guys don't use this as an example.
no, we not using this as an example. Hell no.
No, I'm saying in general. I hope when you guys look at couples, you don't try to, you know.
Oh yeah, base it off of that. No.
I hope not.
But and that's another thing. And the reason why I asked like what does toxic mean to y'all, because I feel like that word gets thrown around a lot now, especially in this era, it gets thrown around a lot because everybody's like, oh, you're toxic, or like you just toxic to me and stuff, which which is not the case. Not everybody is toxic. Like, yeah, people have bad traits and stuff, but that don't mean they're toxic. It's just
Did
like,
you? I see what you're saying, Bubble. Because you're right. It does. Like even certain people call themselves toxic, and you're like, but you're not a toxic person. You're actually a pretty cool person. You know, you have traits about you that man. We're gonna pray for you, but it's not. You need some prayer and some God and some soul searching maybe.
so
To me and Danielle's relationship got toxic when it got physical and the arguments became almost petty to me.
Yeah, that's the thing. I ain't gonna say, boy, and there was some arguments, but we ain't gonna
And
get to
even
that.
just like it was, okay, if you don't want to clean dishes, will you at least? Damn it! Look at this shit. I just cleaned my whole
I'm
face.
not opening the door.
Damn. What the hell is going on? But like, it was as simple as some of the arguments would start about laundry
What?
and cleaning and
What?
things like that. Where,
Hey.
like, I spent the week with my cousin and I learned so much about. I believe you should give 100% to each to person, and it's not saying that you're giving your whole soul to that person 100%. It's saying if you give 100% all the time, nobody loses out when you're having a bad day. Because at the end of the day, you're still making sure you're putting you and that person. You know. I learned a lot from her. It's hard sometimes. I'm like, man, I'll never find that out of somebody. Even though now after she's had the baby, she's like, I'm sick of him. But that's also because you add a baby to the mix. Of course, shit's gonna change a bit.
Yeah, like it switch up a lot. And I guess and and Loki, I wouldn't say I learned that already, but and in the relationship I was in earlier, it do like adds a little bit more because I don't have kids. Like I mean, I have godchildren. Like I have a godchild, like Junior, but I I he's not literally mine. Like I can pick him up, do stuff with him, take him to go do stuff whenever I want. But at the end of the day, he already has a parent, and so that's not. I wouldn't say it's not my responsibility, but it's not my sole responsibility. Like the only thing I had to worry about is myself really, and like with the person I was with before, it's like that like just being. I'd say being with someone that has kids in general, it it adds a little like it's a little different because you're so used to doing stuff for yourself, so and then it's like oh shit. I also got
You gotta think twice now.
yeah
That was hard for me at first.
I can't do everything like I want to.
No, you can't, especially with that person. That was hard for me with Dana. Is when I first came to the scene, it was damn. I have to think 2 times before,
Yeah.
Where before it was I can do whatever the fuck I wanted. It didn't matter. Which I mean, I love kids. Don't get me wrong, but at the time too, I was single. Had me my little job at TJ Maxx in college. Don't know if I was doing very good in college, but I was in college. Just doing whatever I wanted, whatever I pleased. Danielle had, I know Danielle had more freedom than his baby mama, but still, he still always thought about Sean first. Always. I guess that's what's frustrating for me in that situation. Okay, we're getting off topic. Anyway, he always thought about Sean first, and I had to evaluate my views and decide, okay, do I really want to? That's a lot. That's a lot out of 20, what was I, 19?
Mm-hmm. That should have been like 19.
Right? 2010. I was turning 20.
Yeah. So 17, and I think I was like barely still in elementary school. No. Yeah. I know. I think I just got to middle school before elementary.
Wait, so you said 2010 or 17?
No, I was going off of because Dana would have been if you had just turned 20. Dana would have been 17.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and then I was barely. I think I was either barely. I was either leaving elementary school. I was barely getting in middle school. One of them two.
Who had text messages?
You know I got text messages. Oh snap. That's just.
I already said that to him.
Oh shit.
Oh, y'all.
Carter.
Monday.
Dang. Somebody
You
tired.
sleepy? I can hear you. Yeah.
Them TikToks got a soul now.